got to go. Now here the way we're gonna move. Now we figure move. On down in town. Watch that.
To say goodbye, touch me deep inside. Baby, I hope it's not farewell. You can count on me when it's a friend you need. All the same, I hope it all goes well. Now be good to yourself every day and every night. Get yourself a girl who can depend to treat you right. Be true to one another till your dying day. May the sun shine down your way. Yeah, yeah. You know the times we had been far from bad, and I hope it comes together once again. But until that time, we just say goodbye. I remember you till the very end. Be good to yourself every day and every night. Get yourself a girl you can depend to treat you right. Be true to one another till your dying day. May the sun shine down your way. Be good to yourself every day and every night. Get yourself a girl you can depend to treat you right. Be true to one another until your dying day. May the sun shine down your way. Be good to yourself every day and every night. Get yourself a girl you can depend to treat you right. Love one another till your dying day. May the sun shine down your way. Let it shine.
Bought my ticket, took that bus one cold Monday morning, mid-September 1960. 1963, I paid no heed to warning when they said, don't go too far out from here. It's twice as far returning. Looking back, I could see nothing for the smoke from the bridges I was burning. And it's a long way back down to where I come from, and I've got nothing to forget. But there's a list of things here I have to do, and I've hardly started yet. Well, I've been close to trouble, I've been close to death, I've been close to some fine women. There are places where I'm always welcome, and some where they say, don't let him in. But I've spent my time in company that was faithful and was trying, like that black-eyed girl from Birmingham who was with me when I was crying. And it's a long way back down to where I come from, and I've got nothing to forget. But there's a list of things here I have to do, and I've hardly started yet. I've hardly started yet. Oh, well, I spend my time working for the day when I can leave this joke behind me. And I don't need you making token gestures to casually remind me that I'm stuck out here at the break of dawn with my faculties diminished. That middle eight'll have to wait, but it won't be long till I get this damn song finished. And it's a long way back down to where I come from, and I've got nothing to forget. But there's a list of things here I have to do, and I've hardly started yet. I've hardly started yet. I've hardly started yet. I've hardly started yet.
Who's your favourite DJ, eh? And I just love building openings for you like that. We kicked off today with Lightning Hopkins from Texas, playing Moving Out Boogie, recorded in Houston in 1954. And that's one of the tracks on a Lightning Hopkins collection released by the Diving Duck label of the Netherlands and called Bad Boogie. Actually, Diving Duck released a pair of these albums, all from the 1954 sessions, released them at the same time, and the companion LP is Lightning Hopkins' Flash Lightning. In the middle, it was the great Frankie Miller with Be Good to Yourself, written by Andy Fraser, once the bass player with Free, and featuring there the Memphis Horns and Chris Spedding on guitar. And that was the opening track on Frankie Miller's 1977 LP, Full House. I remember listening to Peel one night, and he played Be Good to Yourself when it had just been released. And when it had finished, he said, "Oh, that's so good. I feel like playing it again right now." So he did. I think it's a real shame that Frankie Miller, who had a brain hemorrhage in 1994, alas, and can no longer perform, is remembered by most folks, if he's remembered at all, for his 1978 sentimental plodder, Darling. But we here at Radio Kershaw remember and treasure the good stuff, Frankie. And Rod Stewart, who once knew a thing or two about R&B singing, said of Frankie Miller, "He's the only white guy that's ever brought a tear to my eye. He was that good," and he was. And the one we just heard, also from Glasgow, Rab Noakes, I've hardly started yet, from Rab's 1995 album Standing Up, which is still available, on Rab's own Neon label. Check out his website. Much of his back catalogue is still there and still available. Hiya, you're listening to Radio Kershaw with another classic archive session for you today, and it's a collaboration between musicians of different continents. Back in 1996, after I'd moved from the little flat in Crouch End to a house, also in Crouch End, my friend back then, and later fellow Radio 3 presenter, the musicologist Lucy Duran, brought round to our house one gloriously sunny afternoon the great Cuban diva and queen of Cuban country music, Selena Gonzalez, with some of her musicians and the Senegalese kora player, Soriba Kouyaté. And I recorded them playing together on the open back porch I had built onto the kitchen. And you can hear the first few songs from Selena and Soriba after this.
Bongo awa diose, bongo zame atinang
mikili na mikili biso be na kokatisa bibalepe na bangomba esenga penge mwa tambala moko na mbolalala lika mwisi monene zamba sala wana mokili moi na pokwa ekutana la famille, dans l'espoir qu'à mon retour, je vais vous voir enfin autour d'une table, ma famille est réunie. Et c'est la paix que moi, tambala mokona mola. Vamos a la motipa, ayokana kosa la kawa, yezanga nangwa ta pension.
Wemba and his band from Zaire, as it was when he recorded that from the Radio 1 programme on the 19th of August 1992 at BBC Maida Vale Studios, and later it became one of the tracks on the album Papa Wemba, The Kershaw Sessions from the Strange Roots label. 2 full sessions on there by Papa Wemba, the other recorded in February 1989. And the first one we heard there was by the Movers from South Africa, Kudala Sitandana, the track, and that's the latest release from the Analog Africa reissue label. It's called The Movers, 1970 to 1976. They were the first black South African group to get airplay on white South African radio stations. Quite an achievement. OK then, it's all round to mine, and do squeeze onto my back porch at number 36 Cecil Park, Crouch End, on a sunny, warm, late summer's day in September 1996. There, sitting on a wooden bench and kitchen chairs, is the formidable voice of the Cuban countryside, Selena Gonzalez, with Senegalese kora player Soriba Kouyaté, and they're joined by Selena's son Lazaro, who also sings and plays the guitar, Paco Rodriguez on the tres, that's the small-bodied Cuban guitar, Jesus Alemany on trumpet, and Lucy Duran on clavis, 2 bits of wood. And the first song is El Carretero, the cart driver.
Por el camino del sitio mío, un carretero alegre pasó. Con su tonada clara y sencilla y muy sentida alegre cantó. Ole lo ley, ole lo ley, ole lo ley, ole lo ley. Me llegó el transbordador a descargar la carreta. Me llegó el transbordador a descargar la carreta para cumplir una meta de mi gloriosa labor. A caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte. El guajiro carretero en el campo vive bien. El guajiro carretero en el campo vive bien. Porque el campo es el Edén más lindo del mundo entero. A caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte. ¡Opa!
Aunque seas mi idolatría y de ti yo sea tu orgullo, tú nunca podrás ser mía, ni nunca podré ser tuyo, que tú nunca podrás ser mía, ni nunca podré ser tuyo. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. Y te tendré que querer y me tendrás que adorar. Luego me ha de aborrecer y te tendré que olvidar, que luego me ha de aborrecer y te tendré que olvidar. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. Azúcar de Senegal y de Cuba, Celina y Reutilio. Y no quiero que tus labios me pregunten el porqué. Si preguntan, hay agravios, explicarte no podré. Que si preguntan, hay agravios, explicarte no podré. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. Dime qué te pasa, corazón, no puedes vivir ya sin su amor. no llores, te lo ruego, no preguntes el por qué. Tú me quieres, yo te quiero, eso es todo lo que sé. Que tú me quieres, yo te quiero, y ese es todo el misterio.
Y no te puedo querer,
Mi negro,
y no te puedo querer,
guajiro,
y no te puedo querer,
mulato,
y no te puedo querer,
mi cielo,
y no te puedo querer,
reutilio,
y no te puedo querer,
ya sabes,
y no te puedo querer,
misterio.
y no te puedo querer.
Y dice cuerdas de Senegal. Soriba, el maestro azúcar. Vaya, H para Senegal. Todo sabor. Soriba. Ahí. Esto es Cuba y Senegal. Vaya, Jesús. Saboréalo. Y no llores, te lo ruego, no preguntes el por qué. Tú me quieres, yo te quiero, eso es todo lo que sé. Que tú me quieres, yo te quiero, y ese es todo el misterio.
Y no te puedo querer,
Mi prieto,
y no te puedo querer,
ya sabes,
y no te puedo querer, y
cariño,
no te puedo querer,
mi
y
vida,
no te puedo querer,
mi
y
negro,
no te puedo querer, y
guajiro,
no te puedo querer, y
cariño,
no te puedo querer,
misterio. Y dice,
Up on the white veranda, she wears a necktie and a Panama hat. Her passport shows a face from another time and place. She looks nothing like that. And all of the remnants of her recent past are scattered in a wild wind. She walks across the marble floor. A voice from the gambling room is calling her to come on in. She smiles, walks the other way. As the last ship sails and the moon fades away from Loch Lomond Bay. As the morning light breaks open, the Greek comes down and he asks for rope, and then we'll ride. Right on, so the desk clerk says, Cavalier removes his fez. Am I hearing you right? s'il vous plaît. As the rain beats down and the cranes fly away from Black Diamond Bay. The desk clerk heard the woman laugh as he looked around in the aftermath, and the soldier got tough. He tried to grab the woman's hand, said, here's a ring, it cost $1,000. She said, that ain't enough. Then she ran upstairs to pack her bags while a horse-drawn taxi waited at the curb. She passed the door where the Greek had locked, where a handwritten sign read, do not disturb. She knocked upon it anyway. As the sun went down and the music played on Black Diamond Bay. I've got to talk to someone quick, but the Greek said, go away, and kicked the chair to the floor. He hung there from the chandelier. She cried, help, there's danger near, please open up the door. Then the volcano erupted and the lava flowed down from the mountain high above. The soldier and the tiny man were crouched in the corner, thinking about in love. The desk clerk said it happens every day. As the stars fell down and the moon spread away on Black Diamond Bay. As the island slowly sank, the loser finally broke the bank in the gambling room. The dealer said, it's too late now, you can take your money, but I don't know how you'll spend it in the tomb. The tiny man bit the soldier's ear as the floor caved in and the boiler in the basement blew. Till she's out on the balcony where a stranger tells her, my darling devil's in Baku. She sheds a tear and then begins to pray. And the light burns on and the smoke drifts away from Black Diamond Bay. I was sitting home alone one night in L.A. watching old Cronkite on the 7 o'clock news. It seems there was an earthquake that left nothing but a Panama hat and a pair of old Greek shoes. It didn't seem like much was happening, so I turned it off and went to grab another beer. Seemed like every time you turn around, there's another hard luck story that you're gonna hear. And there's really nothing anyone can say. And I never did plan to go anyway to Black Diamond Bay.
There's a track from Bob's last really good album, Desire, in 1976, and one you never hear on the radio, which is a shame because it's fab, and for me, it's like a Joseph Conrad or a Graham Greene story set to music, or just another night at the Olufsen Hotel in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Black Diamond Bay, the song, and Desire, the album, is the cut-off point for me with Bob. After that, well, oh dear. And his last truly great LP was the one before Desire, 1975's Blood on the Tracks. Selena Gonzalez with some of her Cuban musicians and kora player Sorry Yati were before Dylan, recorded by me on my back porch in Crouch End on the 16th of September 1996, and the three we heard in that first chunk were El Carretero, the driver of a horse and cart, El Manicero, the peanut vendor, and finally, Mi son es un misterio, my song is a mystery. A great favourite of my old producer, John Walters, El Manicero. Many were the times I'd walk into the main office at Radio 1, where all the producers' secretaries sat, filing their nails and mewing to each other about train times back to East Croydon, to find Walters standing on one of their desks and blasting out the peanut vendor on his trumpet. Well, more from Selena and Sorryba a bit later in the programme. You're listening to Test Match Special here on Radio Kershaw. The South Africans arrive next week to take on England, first at Lord's, starting on the 17th of August. And Jar Thomas has been preparing himself spiritually and herbally. And how fortunate for him that cricket rhymes with wicket.
Musical, discal, cricket, lovely cricket. So all you got to do is lick the ball before it reach a wicket. I beg your pardon, what did you say? I say keep on, say so. Say cricket, lovely cricket. Cricket lick the ball before it reach the wicket. I mean say cricket, lovely cricket. Cricket lick the ball before it reach the wicket. Say, who win the match? Which match? No the cricket match. Say, who win the match? Which match? No the cricket match. Me and me girlfriend a diner. I saw we took a little trip to Sabina. Me say me wife the ayat, she no know we gonna abroad. Wife the ayat, she no know we gonna abroad. Say cricket, lovely cricket. Cricket lick the ball before it reach the wicket. And me say cricket, lovely cricket. Got to lick the ball before it reach the wicket. Talking about the man called Lawrence Rowe. Some of them a call him Yaga Yaga Rowe. And me say Yaga 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 Rowe. Oh you know, say Yaga 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 Rowe. Oh you know, lick all the ball and the ball of them stall. Him lick all the ball and the ball of them stall. Him pins them so hard to fall, and the Eden back is against the wall. Cause when him lick all the ball and the ball of them stall, him pins them so hard to fall, and the Eden back is against the wall. Talking about a cricket, lovely cricket. Got to lick the ball before it reach the wicket. Talking in a different style. Talking in a different style. One call Jar Thomas in a Liston style. One call Jar Thomas in a Liston style. Come let me tell you about the man I call a Michael Holding. Man under holy pa bowling. Come let me tell you on the man called Michael Holding. Man under holy pa bowling. And me say cricket, lovely cricket. Got to lick the ball before it reach the wicket. The players in a full suit of white. The players them say them not broke no fight. The players them in a full suit of white. The players them say them not broke no fight. Come let me tell you say a cricket, lovely cricket. Got to lick the ball before it reach the wicket. Say, who win the match? Which match? No the cricket match. Me and me girlfriend a diner. And so we take a little trip to Sabina. Cause if him lick any for me, they go ball out for more. Lick many for me, I go check out the score. Tell you about the sun and you no feel no way. In a different style. Man call Jar Thomas in a rubber dub style. Man call Jar Thomas in a different style. Man call Jar Thomas have to change up in style. Man call Jar Thomas in a Liston style. Come let me tell you say a cricket, lovely cricket. Got to lick the ball before it reach the
wicket. Cricket, lovely cricket. At last where I saw it. Cricket, lovely cricket. At last where I saw it.
Yardley tried his best. Goddard won the test. They gave the crowd plenty fun. The second test on West Indies won. With those little pals of mine, Lamadine and Valentine. The king was there well attired, so they started with Ray and Stallmeyer. Stolly was hitting balls round the boundary, but Waddle stopped him at 20. Ray had confidence, so he put up a strong defense. He saw the king was waiting to see, so he gave him a century. With those little pals of mine, Ramadine and Valentine. West Indies first inning total was 326 just as usual. When Betster bowled Cristiani, the whole thing collapsed quite easy. England then went on and made 151. West Indies then had 220 lead. Goddard said that is nice indeed. With those little pals of mine, Ramadine and Valentine. Yardley wasn't broken-hearted when the second inning started. Jenkins was like a target, getting the first 5 into his basket. But Gomez broke him down, while Walcott licked them around. He was not out for 168, leaving Yardley to contemplate. The bowling was super fine. Ramadine and Valentine. West Indies was feeling homely. Their audience had them happy. When Washbrook's century had ended, West Indies voices all blended. Hats went in the air, people shout and jump without fear. So, at Lord's was the scenery, it bound to go down in history. After all was said and done, England bled and West Indies won.
BV is the name, cricket is the game. Brother, I don't know how he could play cricket so, but his batting, bowling, feeling, catching is breathtaking. Sometimes I just wonder if he's the next Roberts in the making. That man Richards could really bat. It's something to see him and the attack, plundering bowlers again and again. It's remarkable how he does dictate the game. No bowler holds a terror for Vivian Richards, not Thompson, not Lilly, not Lady Nashanda Sika. Perfect coordination of body and mind. That brother is really dynamite. Pace or spin, he ain't give a France where you bowling him. Fast or slowly, you're going back to the boundary. When the bowling tight, if you see the man, he has a defense no bowler can penetrate. Yet still he can score his runs as freely as he will. He could beat the tightest field with sheer technical skill. When that man drives you, he scores the field and leave the mid on. Standing still, his breathless leg cuts right off the stumps. So many times as left commentators down. No bowler holds a terror for Vivian Richards, not Thompson, not Lilly, not Baby Nashanda Sika. Perfect coordination of body and mind. That brother is really dynamite. Pace or spin, he don't give a France for you bowling him. Fast or slowly, you're going back to the boundary. England, here they come, this hunk of a man. Classical player and his fellow Antiguan, and the Roberts Redkin have back once again in your country. Vivian Richards Redkin bowlers boundary after boundary. Watch the scoreboard ticking on. When Vivian batting, the machine must run, and people applauding for runs like rain. And another splendid Richards century again. No bowler holds a terror for Vivian Richards. Not Thompson, not Lily, not Baby, not Shanda Sika. Perfect coordination of body and mind. That brother is really dynamite. Pace or spin, he don't give a France where you're bowling him. Fast or slowly, you're going back to the boundary and the
King Shortshirt, Antigua's most successful and enduring calypsonian, with his tribute to Vivian Richards. Now, Sir Vivian Richards, of course, the mighty Antiguan batsman. Some who know better than me say the greatest of all time. And King Shortshirt recorded that for his Ghetto Vibes LP at the height of Viv Richards' powers in 1977. I met King Shortshirt once in St John's in Antigua, where he also ran a glass-bottom boat business. I found him in the phone book, and he came round to see me the following morning at breakfast. I was sitting drinking coffee and eating croissants in my little guest house just across the street from the Test cricket ground. And "Can I get you some coffee and breakfast?" I said to him when he sat down. "No, thank you," he says. "I'll have a large rum." And it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and he had more than one. I'm pleased to say King Shortshirt is still active. He's now 80 years old, but these days he records mostly gospel records under the name of Brother Emmanuel, his real name being Emmanuel McLean. Lord Beginner was in the middle there with Victory Test Match, recorded in London for Parlophone Records in 1950. And legend has it that Beginner made up that song on the spot while watching the West Indies cricket team's defeat of England in the Test match at Lord's in 1950, largely due to the devastating bowling of those two little pals of mine, Ramadin and Valentine. Following his retirement from cricket, Sonny Ramadin ran a pub in Delft, Saddleworth, not far from me, and I went to school with his son in Oldham. After the match, back in 1950, Lord Beginner and his friend Lord Kitchener led a celebratory march of dancers and musicians all the way from Lord's cricket ground in St John's Wood to Piccadilly Circus. If they tried to do that these days, the Metropolitan Police would kettle them and arrest them. Jar Thomas was the opening bat in that sequence, Cricket Lovely Cricket, from his 1979 LP, Dance on the Corner, produced by King Tubby. An email here from listener and regular correspondent Roger Selwyn in Hemel Hempstead, and if you want to get in touch with me like Roger did, go to my website andykershaw.co.uk and click on the contact button on the homepage. Write your message there and that comes through to my email account. Anyway, Roger writes, "Hi Andy, I emailed you many years ago and asked you to play the Southern Soul track Ain't Much of a Home by Jesse James, which took me then about 6 years to track down after you'd played it, and I would love to hear it again." Well, I'm sorry for the delay, Roger. I'm sorry about the lost 6 years. It's taken me weeks to find the bugger, but good choice.
You know, happiness can't be measured by money or material things, because one without the other is no good. I don't have much at my house to see, nothing that's too fancy, just signs of love to keep me happy. As I look around me, I see 7 kids eating breakfast in the morning. Mama's wife hangs out on the line. If you listen, you can hear my papa's snoring. fool, 'cause she's ashamed of the clothes she wears. Mama's worried, 'cause we ain't got no money. Papa's saying everything's gonna work out fine. Then he makes Mama laugh by saying something funny. Oh yeah. May not be much. Well, it may not be much. Through someone else's eyes. But I'm proud of this home, 'cause it's mine. Yes, it's mine. We got
when I am burdened, help me, Lord. When I am sad sometimes, when I'm in trouble, Lord, don't leave me, Jesus. I know you will make me glad. Yes, you will. You said if I would trust you, Lord, have mercy now, I would never regret, Lord. And I don't believe that I will. I know you sure will remember. Lord, have mercy when my friends forget me. That's why I love to talk about it sometime. God sure will remember. Lord, have mercy when my friend forget, Lord. Yes, you will. You promised me that you would be my captain, didn't you, Lord? I know you did one day, and I'm trusting in you yet. I'm trusting in Him. But I sure know that I will be pleased. I won't never regret, Lord. Jesus, remember. Friends talk about me sometimes. Doors be closed in my face. Jesus, you said you would be a mind regulator. Yes, you did. And I know, Lord, you are a heart fixer. Yes, you will. When I cry all night long, Lord Jesus, you promised me that you would stand by me. When my mother's gone on home, Lord, when others forget.
They are the peerless Swan Silvertones from West Virginia, led by the Reverend Claude Jeter, who was singing falsetto lead on that track, Jesus Remember, recorded for the VJ label in 1959, and it reappeared some years ago on a Gospel Twofer CD from VJ, 2 albums on 1 CD, the Swan Silvertones and Singing in My Soul. Jesse James before the Swans, Ain't Much of a Home, recorded in 1969 and reissued in the UK on the Kent Records Southern Soul compilation Deep South. OK, time to give you the shameless plug for Songlines magazine, media partner of this podcast. Songlines doesn't actually give us any money, unfortunately. I think the magazine is as poor as I am. But the editorial folks there are very supportive of these programmes and give the podcast a free half-page advert in every issue. So if you've got an appetite for non-mainstream music from all over the world, get yourself a subscription to Songlines. It really is excellent. And as a listener to these programmes, you qualify for a 20% discount if you're a new subscriber. Just go to songlines.co.uk, look for subscriptions, and then type in the word Kershaw, all in capital letters, when prompted, and you'll get 20% off. Oh, I love them. San Francisco proto-punks, the Flaming Groovies, with their 1976 re-recording of Shake Some Action, produced by Dave Edmonds and recorded at the Great Man's Rockfield Studios in Wales for the album of the same title, Shake Some Action. They're still going, I'm happy to say. And before the Groovies, you heard Alex Chilton with his group Big Star from Memphis, Oh My Soul, the track from Big Star's 1973 LP, Radio City, and that was on Stax Records and reissued in the UK by Big Beat. Most folks, if they know Alex Chilton at all, will be familiar with the international hit single The Letter by Alex's previous group, the Box Tops, in 1967. He was only 16 when he had a huge hit with that, and he was a regular visitor to London in the late 1980s, and I saw him play a flurry of club gigs. An outstanding guitarist he was, but he died, alas, of a heart attack in his adopted home of New Orleans when he was only 59. The last person you'd expect to have a heart attack, always a skinny little bugger. Now then, how can we possibly follow the jangly guitars of the Flaming Groovies and Alex Chilton? Why? With the Byrds, of course, in their February 1969 incarnation, and that means with the mighty Clarence White on lead guitar, and they're on stage at Bill Graham's Fillmore East in San Francisco.
Sundown's finished and midnight's broken toll. We ducked inside the doorway, thunder crashing as majestic bells of boats struck shadows in the sound, seeming to be the chimes of freedom flashing. Flashing for the warriors whose strength is like divine. Flashing for the refugees on the unarmed roads of life. And for each and every underdog soldier every night, we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing.
We're far between sundown's finish and midnight's broken toll. We ducked inside the door with thunder crashing as majestic bells of bolts struck shadows in the sound, seeming to be the chimes of freedom crashing. If flashing for the warriors, his strength is not to fight. Flashing for the refugees on their unarmed road of flight. And for each and every underdog soldier in the night, we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. Well, in the city's melted furnace, unexpectedly we watched, with faces hidden here while the walls were tightening. As the echo of the wedding bells before the blowing rain dissolved into the wild bills of lightning. Tolling for the rebel, yeah, tolling for the rape, tolling for the luckless, the abandoned and forsaken, yeah, tolling for the outcast, but constantly at stake. And we gazed upon the charms of freedom flashing. Splattered mist was slowly lifting. Well, electric lights still struck like arrows, fired before the walls, condemned to drift or else be kept from drifting. We're tolling for the searching ones on this speechless seeking trail, for the lonesome hearted lovers with too personal a tale, and for each unharmful gentle soul misplaced inside a jail. Yeah, we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. We're starry-eyed and laughing. I recall when we were caught, trapped by no track of ours, fully hang suspended. As we listened one last time, and we're watched with one last look, spellbound and swallowed is the tolling ended. Yeah, tolling for the aching ones whose wounds cannot be nursed, for the countless confused, accused, misused, strung out ones and worse, and for every hung up person in the whole wide universe. And we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing.
Not many folk can improve on a Dylan original, but then not everyone is called Bruce Springsteen or The Byrds. Two live versions of Bob's Chimes of Freedom for you there. First, The Byrds from their album Live at the Fillmore, recorded in February 1969. And then Bruce, of course, with the E Street Band, live in the Olympic Stadium, Stockholm, in July 1988. And that was released as a bonus track back then on Bruce's CD single of Spare Parts during his workshop manual phase. Now, in the last programme, I played you the overwhelming Zairian dance floor anthem, Pon Moon Pakabouge by Pepe Cali. And I told you a listener had specifically requested it, but I couldn't find his ruddy email to credit him on the last programme. Well, since then, that listener has been in touch to remind me of his identity. He remembers what he's called, Keith Taylor of Newcastle on Tyne. Sorry to have been such a clot with your request, Keith. Anyway, Keith now asks for an additional track by Zimbabwe's Four Brothers, who he regards as the best band in the world. If time permits, he says, anything from the last album of theirs, which I bought, which was Manga Manga, and that would suffice. A chap by the name of Andy Kershaw is quoted on the sleeve. Another sublime album from the deservingly enduring Zimbabwean favourites. And still with the Four Brothers, Conrad Lawrence tells us in another message sent using the contact button on my website that he's married to a South African woman. And, says Conrad, the first time I played her something by the Four Brothers, she started ranting about it, sounding like the kind of stuff her dad used to force her to listen to when she'd rather be listening to British pop music instead. Good Lord. And evidently, Conrad and his wife are still married. How can she possibly not like the Four Brothers? Get it up loud, Conrad.
wandigoera sepwere vamwene vangu vanoshusha naye vasikana ini vamwene vangu vanonetsa naye vasikana ini ndidengere mbatya nemurume zvanzi kune mwana wangu ndiswere zvendakachena zvanzi yezvo varume nditume mwana nepasuru wandigoera sepwere ndiudzevo murume zvanzi shinga wakandida ndisenge zvangu nemurume ivo umadziro wati kuda kuteerera kuti tataureiko kuda kuteerera kuti tasekeiko kuda kuteerera kuti tataureiko kuda kuteerera kuti tasekeiko ndiwanzira vamwene nai vamwene ini chokwadi kani mandiwanzira vamwene vamwene ini shuwa kani mandiwanzira.
The Four Brothers from Zimbabwe. Vamwene Vanashusha, the song, meaning a demanding mother-in-law is very hard to please, no matter how hard you try. And that's from an album they released in the UK in 1998 called Manga Manga. Actually, they recorded it in London as well, and it was released on the PCP label. Great story about the Four Brothers. Like all Zimbabwean groups back then, one of the reasons they could play so well was because they performed all day long at the weekends in the beer gardens of the townships around Harare, just as the Beatles became really tight playing those marathon stints in clubs on the Reeperbahn in Hamburg in the very early 60s. Anyway, when the Four Brothers first came to the UK, and I helped to bring them over, my Radio 1 producer of the time, the great John Walters, arranged for them to go into BBC Maida Vale studios to record a session for my programme. Anyway, Dale Griffin, our regular sessions producer and former drummer with Mott the Hoople, once the Four Brothers had set up the gear, hit the talkback button in the control room and said through the talkback to the Four Brothers in the studio, "OK, boys, if you could just give us four, meaning 4 songs," which was the routine for Peel and Kershaw sessions. So the four brothers kicked off into their first number, and then they did a second, and then they did a third, and then they did a fourth, then they did a fifth and a sixth. So eventually Dale thought, well, this is fine, but we've got enough now. So he hit the talk back again and said, that's fine, guys, that's fine. I said before we started, we only wanted 4. And they looked at him a bit blankly and bemused. And then eventually Never Matari, my friend who played bass, said to Dale, oh, you meant 4 songs. We thought you meant 4 hours. And he would happily and easily have played for 4 hours if we'd wanted them to do so.
I've been in search of stones, making up the pavement of less traveled roads, mining for treasure deep in my bones that I never found. Went looking forever and tried to find it in a bottle and came back again, high on a hash pipe of good intent, but it only brought me down. Tried institutions of the mind and soul. It only taught me what I should not know. Oh, and the answer, well, who would have guessed? Could be something as simple as this. Something as simple as this. Traveled to each ocean's end, saw all 7 wonders, trying to make some sense. Memorized the mantra Confucius said, but it only led me down. Tried absolution of the mind and soul. It only led me where I should not go. Oh, and the answer, well, how could I miss something as simple as this? Something as simple as this. I've been falling, crashing, breaking, all the while you were stoodly waiting for me, girl. Tried liberation of my own free will, but it left me looking to get higher still. Oh, and the answer, well, who would have guessed? Could be something as simple as this. God knows how I could have missed something as simple as this.
find. White noise, flint napped, a keepsake for my time. Collecting dust between book spines. Do you follow the moon like you follow the sun? Do you follow the moon? Infinite wavelengths are gathering in space. Who knows what sound they make? Every word ever spoken, they never die. Whispered from lips, reverberating in time. Do you follow the moon like you follow the sun? Do you follow the moon? So climb, climb, climb the hillside. Careful steps at midnight. Holding vespers in the light of a million years. Secret conversations with the stars. Do you follow the moon like you follow the sun? Do you follow the moon? Do you follow the moon like you follow the sun? Do you follow the
There's a new single from Matt Boulter, MG Boulter from Southend, and it's a collaboration with another Hudson's Records artist, Jenny Sturgeon from Shetland. And they live so far apart, they've been writing songs together online, and that's the first to be released. Flint Napped, it's called, from Hudson Records. It's a download only, I think, so go to the Hudson Records website to get hold of it. The great Ronnie Lane was in the middle there with The Poacher. Whenever I hear that, it's suddenly the summer of 1974 all over again, which is when it was released on Any More for Any More, Ronnie Lane's debut solo album after the demise of the Faces, for which of course he played bass. And the first one there was Jake Bug, simple as this, from Jake's 2012 debut album, just called, not unreasonably, Jake Bug. Now, thanks to all of you who very kindly made donations to keep this podcast and its presenter going. I never wanted to make these programmes available only by subscription, but I do ask, if you enjoy them and you can afford it, to make a donation no matter how modest, or extravagant for that matter. You can give me loads of money if you like. Putting together and presenting these podcasts is, I've now recognised, my job, because I'm still not getting any other work. Radios 3 and 4 are very happy to repeat documentaries I've made for them in recent years. In fact, the Radio 3 is running the Kershaw tapes again, I think later this month. And Radio 4 recently repeated my documentary about the making of Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited, but they no longer pay repeat fees. And while they're happy to fill their schedules with my past achievements and use me broadcasting talents in that way, they won't let me make any new programmes. So this is it, and I do these for you. But Radio Kershaw does need to eat and to feed Bertie and pay the overheads that these programmes incur. So if you can contribute, I'd be very grateful. You can also make regular donations by becoming a patron of these podcasts, and to do that, or make a single donation, go to the podcast pages of my website, scroll down a bit, then click on one of the buttons which says Donate or Be My Patron on Podbean. And thanks very much if you can. Here's the roll of honour of new patrons: Mark Hutton, Friggins, Gerard Gleeson, Wendy Wise 3, H. Jack, Kiki's Cat 96, Stuart B.A., Matt 5M or 5 million, Alex Suter, Jim Bob Craig, Rich Paff C, H. Hobson, Tony Kiley, PBGB 905, Troutbeck 101, Philip K5, MXGRH3, Richard A. Percy, and Jonathan A8. Well, thanks to all of those folks and to all of you who've donated. As I've said before, if everyone who downloads these podcasts donated just £2 for each new one, I'd no longer be worrying that the workhouse beckons. Back with the Cubans on my back porch in Crouch End in September 1996, the queen of Cuban campesina music, Selena Gonzalez, with a handful of Cubans, and Senegal's Sariba Kouyaté on the kora. The second piece you'll hear is a solo kora tune by Sariba. He was much in demand for session work and live work, young Sariba. Among others, he played kora alongside Youssou N'Dour, Salif Keita, Peter Gabriel and Dizzy Gillespie. But first, here they all are together with Cuba's most famous song, written by radio presenter Jose Ito Fernandez in 1929, and which became an evergreen anthem of international socialism. And I've no idea why, because it's about a cowgirl from Guantanamo in Cuba. All together now.
Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera. Así con el sabor compay, azúcar guají. Con los pobres de la tierra, quiero yo mi suerte echar. Con los pobres de la tierra quiero yo mi suerte echar. El arroyo de la sierra me complace más que el mar. Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera. Florido Vergel, cielo azul, verdes montañas. Cuba, florido Vergel, cielo azul, verdes montañas. Campos cubiertos de caña, cañas cuajadas de miel. Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera.
Cultivo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Cultivo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Para el amigo sincero que me da su mano franca.
Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera. Ya vaya campesino, acérquese Paco, así.
Vaya Jesús, aprovecha ahora que la vida está en el río.
Eso es para que Inglaterra lo goce y todos los latinos. Acérquese Comay Luz y Durán. Estamos en el guanteque Comay. Vaya Jesús. Soribá, ¿cómo le va con Comay? Vaya maestro. Así. Sabor de Senegal, Soribá. Helado de caña, guajir. Ya, vaya grano Dios. Tiene el leopardo un abrigo en su monte seco y pardo. Tiene el leopardo un abrigo, señores, en su monte seco y pardo. Yo tengo más que el leopardo porque tengo un buen amigo. Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera.
Oh rey de la melodía, tú no has muerto, estás en mí. En los versos de Martín, tu sombrero y tu alegría. Estás en la simpatía del pueblo que te venera. Y en la blanca guayabera con que te vimos actuando. Y sobre todo cantando tu inmortal Guantanamera.
Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera.
Now you're just showing off, sorry about it. You are. You're just showing off. Unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, nasali nino senzela mwana moninga uzinga na pasi batelanga na tango ya likambo mamona bondelanga esoki na siliki mwasi alingaka presence ya mobali ye tokabola fonte mabe ebandi na yo mpe na ngai ye lokola bato bayebi toluka ekilimo senzela mwana ya batoi bondela mwana ya batoi nasali nindo senzela mwana moninga ozinga na pasi batelanga na tango ya likambo bamona bondelanga esoki na siliki mwasi alingaka presence ya mobali ye tokabola fote mabe ebandi na yo mpe na ngai ye lokola bato bayebi toluka ekilimo senzela mwana ya batoi bondela mwana ya batoi nasali nindo senzela mwana moninga ozinga na pasi batelanga na tango ya likambo bamona bondelanga esoki na siliki mwasi alingaka presence ya mobali ye tokabola fote mabe ebandi na yo mpe na ngai ye lokola bato bayebi toluka ekilimo senzela mwana ya batoi bondela mwana ya batoi Laissez-la monter mama, mama. Oh mama, mama, mama. Oh mama.
Likambo nini nzambe osala biso mibali tosalelaka basi bango baliaka balataka biso mbula mobimba pantalo moko na nzoto oh mama.
Matata ya mwasi na mobali silatela mokili mama, mama. Oh mama, mama, mama. Oh mama.
Mama aboti ngai mwasi oyo akonyokolo ngai mwasi nzambe apesi ngai etumbu napotaka basi bandeko banyokolo bana ya bato nayoka motema pasi bandeko oh mama. Oh mama, 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 mama.
Matata ya mwasi na mobali silatela mokili mama, mama. Oh mama, mama. epai ya uti te koma soki okendeki kotrete bafere olobi ozonga olia opema akomi kontuna yo outi wapi ozalaki wapi outi wapi balobaki boye mwasi na bala na mosolo nani apesi ye autorisation atuna epai na uti bandeko mama
matata ya mwasi na mobali esila te na mokili mama oh mama mama oh mama
likambo nini ata molataka ndambo ya liputa eva kosaka yo biso tomonaka bwale oh mama
matata ya mwasi na mobali esila te na mokili mama oh mama oh mama
oleka wa basi oleka kuna matata bandeko bino basi bandeko bino nde bokompoto biso bino bokompokolo biso bino moko bokombala biso bino moko bokonyokolo biso tokosala nini bandeko obalani yo na mobali matata mikolo nyonso na ndako bandeko mpo na nini boye oh mama
matata ya mwasi na mobali esila te na mokili mama oh mama
likambo nini nzambe osala biso mibali tosalelaka basi bango baliaka balataka biso mbula mobimba pantalo moko na nzoto oh mama
matata ya mwasi na mobali esila te na mokili mama oh mama oh mama
mwasi akoki koloba na yo azali na pasi na libumu yo osilisi mbongo bandeko na medikama na farmasi soki azali kokosa yo ayebi sekele na ye bandeko oh mama oh mama
matata ya mwasi na mobali esila te na mokili mama oh mama oh mama
okakilo musique okumba na kisasa
l'orchestre soir
The Colossus of Congolese music in every sense. That's Franco and his group TP OK Jazz, Tout Puissant OK Jazz, full speed, from an album he made in 1976 called 20e Anniversaire, to mark 20 years since his first recordings in 1956. And before Franco, it was Soriba Kuyati and a solo kora piece from him called Dia. And the first one there, Guantanamera, of course, Soriba playing alongside Cuban musicians, and the great Selena Gonzalez doing the Ethel Merman bit, a session I recorded on the Sony Walkman Professional on the 16th of September 1996.
When the whistle blows each morning and I walk down in that cold dark mine, I say a prayer to my dear Savior, please let me see the sunshine one more time. When, oh, when will it be over? When will I lay these burdens down? And when I die, dear Lord in heaven, please take my soul from beneath that cold dark ground. I still grieve for my poor brother, and I still hear my dear old mother cry. When late that night they came and told her he lost his life down in the Van Leer mine. When, oh, when will it be over? When will I lay these burdens down? And when I die, dear Lord in heaven, please take my soul from beneath that cold dark ground. I have no shame, I feel no sorrow, if on this earth not much I own. I have the love of my sweet children, an old plow mule, a shovel and a hoe. When, oh, when will it be over? When will I lay these burdens down? And when I die, dear Lord in heaven, please take my soul from beneath that cold dark ground. Yeah, when I die, dear Lord in heaven, please take my soul from beneath that cold dark ground.
Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter in a cabin on a hill in Butcher Holler. We were poor, but we had love. That's the one thing that Daddy made sure of. He shoveled coal to make a poor man's dollar. My daddy worked all night in the Van Leer coal mines, all day long in the field hoeing corn. Mommy rocked the babies at night and read the Bible by the coal oil light, and everything would start all over come break of morn. Daddy loved and raised their kids on a miner's pay. Mommy scrubbed our clothes on a washboard every day. Why, I've seen her fingers bleed to complain there was no need. She'd smile in Mommy's understanding way. In the summertime we didn't have shoes to wear, but in the wintertime we'd all get a brand new pair. From a mail order catalog, money made from selling a hog, Daddy always managed to get the money somewhere. Yeah, I'm proud to be a coal miner's daughter. I remember well the never thought of ever leaving but your holler. Well, a lot of things have changed since way back then, and it's so good to be back home again. Not much left but the floor, nothing lives here anymore, except the memories of a coal miner's daughter.
I used to love playing those two records on Radio 1 during the miners' strike. Walter said there'll be complaints from Radio 1 management, you watch. But there never were, which proved to us that they were never listening. Loretta Lynn, of course, with Coal Miner's Daughter, which she wrote. It was autobiographical. Loretta lived through the Great Depression in Kentucky as a child, and she recorded that in late 1969. And that followed Dwight Yoakam's Miner's Prayer from his 1986 debut LP, Guitars and Cadillacs. Well, that's almost your lot for today. As ever, I'd like to thank producer Peter Everett, Marvin Ware for his technical help, Simon Broughton, Alexandra Petropoulos and Paul Gagan of Songlines magazine, our media partner, and my friend John Bursko for the catering. Thanks to all of you who've donated, it really helps. And thanks to those of you who've become patrons. Your support keeps me going, it really does. And I'll leave you with this one. The man who made slide guitar in rock music possible, the great Elmore James, and something from his final recording session in January 1963, just 4 months before his death at the age of 45. I gotta go now. Thanks very much for listening. See you next time. follow that 6 music.